First, I want to say that there's kind of 3 quick points I want to make. The reason that we did 15 to finish is that when we looked at the data, the majority of our students, whether it was at the research campus, the 2 baccalaureate granting, or the 7 community colleges, the majority of students took 12 to 14 credits. And that was a real surprise to us. Now, I sit at the system, and so one of the things we said is, okay, what from the system can we do to help change this? And that's why it was a campaign. But before we started that campaign, we realized that there were going to be a whole lot of people who were going to say, well, stronger students take 15 or more, less well-prepared students take less. And so we dug deeper into the data. First, and I want to make 2 different points because I've had these questions, and I'm sure if you try to do this, you're going to get the same questions. First, we looked at the 2 groups, those who take 15 or more, and those who take less. And there was not real differences. They were equally diverse in terms of all kinds of data that we could look at, including preparation, but race, ethnicity, sex, socioeconomic background. It was surprisingly, they were very, very similar. So then we said, okay, they're that similar, let's see how they do academically, because we're still going to get that argument. So when we gave a preparation score, which in the 4-year campuses was built on all kinds of placement data and entrance data and GPA and high school data and all that sort of thing. Community colleges, we had less, but we had some placement data. And when we looked at the preparation of students and then controlled for that, it was absolutely clear that those who took 15 or more did better academically than those who took less. Just say it again, controlling for preparation. So until you got out at the very weakest students, they did better taking 15. So we just decided, well, and I can't explain that. I think it's engagement, I think it's commitment, I think it's a lot that goes on with students just being fully engaged in school. But we decided it was worth it to really push the issue. In our first year, and what I reported the first time we came back, across all of our undergraduates, we had a 14.7 increase in those taking 15 or more. So now I'm here to show you the second set of data. So we started this before fall of 2011, so that's kind of our base. So the first return was fall 2012. And fall 2013, that's actually a 5% increase in our undergraduates taking 15 or more. And we're up now to a quarter of the students. And what you can see here is that Manoa is the flagship. Where they are, every campus went up again the second year. So we were pretty pleased with that. Now, this is all undergraduates, but we really were aiming this at freshmen to try to get them into the habit. So here's the data on the first-time freshmen across the system. So we went from those taking 15 or more, from 15.4% in 2011, we're up to 27.5% in fall 2013. I put on here those taking less than 12. The reason I did that is I've always been very clear that this was aimed at those students taking 12 to 14. We all know that part-time students would be better off being full-time, but there's all kinds of reasons to be part-time. And if you're taking 1 or 2 courses and that's what you can afford or have time for with your complicated life, do it. I'd rather you did that than not. So I always try to qualify it, but look at those who took less than 12. It has gone down. So almost a third of our students were taking less than 12 across the system, and now it's down to 24%. So I think the campaign has made a difference. Now, I've talked already about academic preparation. We looked at one other outcome variable. This is the retention of freshmen from the fall 2012 to the fall 2013. Those taking 12 to 14 credits were retained, 62% of them returned. Almost 76% of those taking 15 or more returned. So I think, again, and you can see it's the same thing, it's stronger, larger percentages across all of our campuses, excuse me. So I think we continue to see data that suggests that, and we know that they do better, and we're still looking at that, but they also are retained. So we continue to be true believers. Thank you.
We were really excited to hear what Linda had to say a year ago. It really caught the imagination of Dave Buehler, our Commissioner of Higher Education, and especially the data after they controlled for academic preparation. I think that was the biggest wow factor for all of us. And so we went back and thought about that and decided that this was something that we could tackle. We looked at our own data, which looked a lot like theirs, and saw that 44% of our freshmen were taking between 12 and 14 credits. And we thought, okay, we can nudge them. Again, this is our target. We want to nudge them up to taking one more class. The first thing we did last year was change the way our state scholarship works. So we have a state scholarship for students who do a certain amount of academic preparation in high school. We have 2, actually. And we changed the requirement for renewal of that up from 12 to 15 credits. That was one of the first things we did. Then in July, the Board of Regents passed a resolution all based on completion, and one of them was redefining full-time as 15 credits. The second was plateau tuition. So 7 of our 8 institutions have plateau tuition, and the 8th is working towards it. And there were a number of other things, a lot of them based on game changers and what we've learned at these meetings when we get from Complete College America. So then we went off and said, okay, well, what are we going to do? What is our own 15 to Finish initiative going to look like? And the cornerstone of it is our video, which I will show you in a minute. And so we have a video that starting last week is playing right now at our institutions in their student service centers, and anywhere there's a TV, we've asked that be played. We also have a website that's very, very shallow. It just says, hey, take 15 credits. It'll be good. You'll make more money. You'll save money. It'll be great. And then we direct the students back to the institutional website. So the default for that directing back is the advising websites, but 2 of our institutions already have their own 15 to Finish websites, and so we're able to direct students those back to their own institutional websites, which is fantastic. We're also running targeted ads. So our ads, which will be the video, are based on zip code and registration date. So we want to run the week before and the week during registration. We're looking at YouTube, we're looking at Yahoo searches, and our media company has come up with all these things that when students do this, they'll see the ad. So that's been really fun to target that. And we are also doing outreach on our campuses, which is why I have show and tell. So we have our posters and materials that these actually go on the ground for students, because that's really trendy on our campuses right now. When you're walking, you see those things on the ground. And for tabling events, we're asking that students wear our 15 to Finish t-shirts. So, and all of this sort of goes along with our campaign. During summer orientation, we hope that the orientation leaders will wear these, so that's how we'll get to the freshmen. Ideally, only, like say, 1 out of 5 orientation leaders will wear the yellow shirt, and everybody else will be in institutional gear, so they'll look funny and interesting, and people will want to talk to them. And we've been doing outreach with faculty and advisors, and that's been really interesting. I was telling Linda I'm presenting her data, which is fun. And for next steps, we're hoping to get more student testimonials and to see, have students say, hey, I took 15 and I did better. The first time we rolled this out in a group, we had some pushback, and then we had a student regent in the room, and he stood up and said, when I took 17 credits, it was my very best semester, and I'd never done so well academically as a semester that I took more. And that was much more powerful than all of Linda's data and all the stuff that I had to say. The people were much more impressed by him than by me, so I throw that out as well. So let me show you our video so you can see. And I'll give the disclaimer that Dave Buehler, our commissioner, always gives you. Just a reminder that this is not for you. You are not our target audience. You may not like the music, and we're very comfortable with that.